So I've got a spreadsheet here, and I've got a few things just to really simply illustrate. I've got fixed costs, which are going to be the same. I've got a variable cost calculation as a percentage of revenue, and I'm in this example using 54%. And then I've got a series of formulas here. Really simple. My variable cost is taking revenue times that cost percentage. My fixed costs are simply referencing that cell. And then the profit is the difference between the revenue and those two cost buckets. Very simple. We can calculate break even as a function. I'm not going to break it down at the moment, but we can mathematically calculate break even using those same components. And then we can also do some very simple what if we get to 1.6, or here I'm going to make the distinction, the difference between 1.6 and 1.7 million, the incremental profit is 46,000. And that is the inverse of my variable cost rate. So that's the math and the mathematical calculation that goes into it. Now, the question is, who wants to keep doing this in Excel? I wouldn't. This is a process to update. We got to make sure our fixed costs are being gathered and captured periodically. We got to make sure our calculated cost rate is also being updated. And if I don't want to do it, and if maybe someone on your team doesn't want to do it, the question is, who's going to do it? Or how often is it being done? And so that's kind of the why. You can do it manually, but if it's a pain in the neck, maybe it's not going to happen. So what I'd like to show you is a different tool that's going to allow us to get it done automatically without doing that manual calculation, and allow us to measure it, review it regularly, and here's the key. If we're doing that regularly as a routine, we should be able to improve our results primarily by making sure that our cost rates, our variable costs, are properly reflected in our quoting system, so that everyone involved in the quoting process is using current information. So let me share my screen again. I'll show you a tool that we use with other manufacturers called Fathom. And it's very powerful because we can focus on the results. So in this case here, I have a calculated break-even point, a slope line in red showing my variable costs, and where we're at in a recent period as far as operating cost, operating profit, and then incremental changes. Now in this case, I'm in a prior period. My fixed costs are $495. I'm going to change this and show and illustrate that it's very, very easy to essentially pick any period of time. I'm now looking at a 12-month period. This fixed cost here is basically matching what I was showing in the spreadsheet. And in fact, all these other numbers are really close. There's a slight rounding difference here, but it's basically the illustration I was showing in Excel. So looking at incremental revenue between 1.6 and 1.7, the difference between those two operating profits is, trust me, roughly 46,000. And so I can see both where we're at now, and then ask that question, okay, if we have an incremental increase in revenue of 100,000, how much is going to come to the bottom line? And focus on literally using this information. I want a quick recap of where those top costs are, how my profit has been fluctuating over time. Okay, there's a lot of helpful information we have, but the key here is how can I work with this regularly and actually do something about it?